today it's just Landon and I. We're going to be looking for one more person permanently to be doing these once a week with us. So if by chance you feel like you're the right person for the job, hit me up, apply. Maybe you are. But we need one more person on the panel. What this is we're going to be breaking down weekly, we're going to be breaking down 5 hot topics. Now, some of these topics or questions are going to be written in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, emails, or sometimes it's just going to be stuff that we want to talk about. So today, we're diving into a few hot topics. Number one question, best time to hunt turkeys. Number two, shot placement on bears. Three, how much is too much in a first aid kit? Number four, beast broadheads, hot or flop. And the last question, are Kifaru packs worth the money? So let's just dive right into this, buddy. Best time to hunt turkeys. Now, you are an experienced turkey hunter, having killed a turkey previously. Within a week, you've actually killed a turkey. So, in your opinion, best time of the day to hunt turkeys?
Yeah. Um, in my vast experience of turkeys, I would say mornings to
You're a morning guy, eh?
I don't know, man, that chasing them in the dark to like with the crow call and trying to get into a better position. It just
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seemed like maybe it's just an optimism that a guy has, but
hmm
yeah, it definitely just made me feel like we were just on him more. And that could be that we had the craziest turkey hunting session the first morning that we were out. But
In my experience, hunting turkeys in the morning is by far and away the most fun. It is the easiest time of the day to locate turkeys. I have had more success later in the afternoon between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. I've killed the most turkeys between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Now, recently, this year, my son's turkey, 11 a.m. Your turkey, pretty close to 11 a.m., late mornings.
right there, yep.
If you were going to give me a time, I would say I'm still going to go with late afternoon. Now, there's a fine line in that late afternoon. It starts getting to the point around that 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock where they're moving and they're only really worried about going to their roost. Now, that being said, if you're going to hunt late afternoon and you don't know where the birds are, you don't kill a bird, the evening is also the best time to figure out where the birds are roosting.
Yeah. I I would say that's accurate. Um Another thing that I kind of noticed is pending when the wind would calm down.
Great point.
So,
Turkeys do not like wind. They do not like rain. They do not like wind. Now, obviously, anything that lives in the wild is used to the elements. But when you take a calling animal and you apply a wind to it, especially during the rut, the peak of the rut, which we were hunting, you take away the ability for them to hear properly
mhm.
and for them to be heard. So wind does play a factor. Now, I want to throw a little side note in there. If you have a rainy morning, wait that morning out. That will be your absolute best time to turkey hunt. If it is a crappy morning first thing in the morning, go out and sit in the rain. Soon as it stops raining, and if that sun pops out, there's going to be birds flying around, calling everywhere. One of the best times to hunt. Probably, I would say if you could give me that scenario, I'll take that scenario every day of the week.
That's pretty much a lockdown, eh? That
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting the crossover between animals, and it makes 100% sense that that would be your experience. They just would come out as soon as it's nice out. Be more active anyway.
Yes, I agree. Um, Now there's also different, I think different if you're hunting a different style. If you're sitting in a blind, um, I'm definitely going to say late afternoon is going to be your best time to hunt. If you have a trail camera set up on in a blind and they're coming to either a bait or a natural food source where your trail camera is set up, or maybe, well, let's just stick with food to begin with. Food. And they're hitting that later in the afternoon or early in the evening, that means they're roosting nearby because they're circling. A lot of the times, what they'll do, in my experience, is they'll come down there in the morning and then they'll circle around all day and then they'll come back in the evening and they'll spend more time there in the evening and then they'll wander up. They always seem to roost up, have a little bit of elevation. They prefer that. I think that's so they can take off if they need to. Um,
Carry across the drainage or
Yep,
just
exactly. It's easier for them to float off the side of a mountain than to run, right? They can evade predators. I mean, cougars, bobcats, bears, they can get them in the tree and they will. So if they could just fly off the side of the mountain, very hard for a cat or a bear to chase them once they're, in midair.
hmm
Um, Now, if you're set up on a watering, like a small stream, some fresh water, they will most likely go to that water in the morning. So then it's probably best to hunt the morning. Again, if you have a trail camera out there, it's going to be easy to predict roughly the time of day they're going to be there. But that being said, they're crazy ducks, man. They kind of do what they want. And if they're pressured in any way whatsoever by any other predator, they're going to something drastically is going to change. They might even push out. Now, if you're hunting in an area, and we did experience this, you get birds that have a lot of pressure, they change their pattern completely. They almost shut up, they stop talking, and their whole pattern seems to change.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what we experienced later on our trip was exactly that. I was curious if, you know, with the water thing that you were just talking about, is there a way to pattern them in that morning to a specific spot of water?
I've never been able to do it personally. I know they have they need water sometime.
Mhm.
And I've always just seen them at water sources earlier in the day than later in the day. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't necessarily go to water later in the day. I've just never seen them at specific water source later in the day. I see them pretty much every time. I think every single time I've seen them at water, it's always been in the mornings. Now that could just be my personal experience, but I can only tell you what
Yep.
I know from personal experience. So that's why I say if you're going to hunt some sort of water source, I mean, if you can get them on trail camera, throw a trail or get them on, find them on a water source, throw a trail camera up there. The trail camera is going to tell you real quickly what time of the day they're hitting the water. And if they're in there every morning, bingo,
Yep.
turkey down. Now, patterns also do change. So you have toms that are going to be henned up, and you're going to have bachelor groups of jakes. When we hunted, we did not see a single tom,
Nope.
not one. There is toms. They are with the group of hens. Now, what you have and what we experienced is you get just lone hens working themselves around, running around looking for a tom, looking for somebody to breed with. My personal opinion on that is some of the other one specific or a few of the other hens in that group that are henned up with the tom, they do not tolerate that specific hen for some reason I don't know about. It could be a crossbreeding thing. That could be a poult from last year. I don't know. We'd have to look. We'd have to get Mike Chamberlain back on and talk to him about that.
Yeah.
So that being said, long answer short, if you're gonna hunt anytime, so this is a little caveat here. Not really a caveat, but just another little side note. When I first started hunting turkeys, I used to get up very early, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would go hunt the mornings and I go to work and I do that over and over and over again. Later on, when I started becoming a better turkey hunter, being more having a better success rate, I learned it's better to go after work and hunt. So if you're in that situation where you want that, this is why I love turkey hunting and spring bear hunting because you have late days, you have the ability, you can work and then go turkey hunting, right? As long as you're not ditching out too much on soccer games, baseball games, whatever that is. As long as you're getting that handled too.
Yeah. I would be curious since I've only hunted turkeys in the mountains. I would be curious to hear what some of the Midwest guys that have a lot of experience,
The Flatlanders.
flatlanders, what
Yeah,
their and time base would be.
yeah. Well, and here's the thing, buddy. You've killed one bird, and
Hmm.
you and I are the exact same. You and I both are 1/5 towards our grand slam of turkeys. So that's something to work on. Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap that up. My personal opinion on that is evenings. Landon's is mornings. Shot placement for black bears, spring bears. Spring bear season for most places is underway now. We are rolling into May. This is very interesting topic. I think more bears are not recovered than any other animal that is hunted
Yeah.
because of poor shot placement. Personally, I have had bad shot placement on bears, and I have had bears that I have not been able to recover.
Yep. I mean, that they are really tough to gauge, especially, man, one thing is elevation change plays such a difference with bears in comparison to whitetail or elk or any kind of ungulate that has tighter fur.
Mhm.
And I think that's what gets a lot of guys is if you're shooting from an elevated position, whether it's a tree stand or shooting down from a bottom or a ridge into a bottom or something like that, I feel like they hold low.
Yes, too low. Now, one thing to remember with bears is, like Landon has alluded to, you're looking at their hair on their belly, especially being, it could be 5 inches long. And
Yep.
so that's going to give you an incorrect center line positioning, like a horizontal center line point of reference on the bear because we've talked about it and a lot of people have heard other people talking about it. The best place to shoot a bear is center of center. Now, that being said, if you're looking at the bottom of their hairline and you're accounting that in, you could be a little bit too low.
Hmm.
And now you add elevation, like your elevation. You're either elevated in a tree stand or on a ridge, the bear's below you, or vice versa. Right now, obviously, if you're shooting on a 20, 30 degree angle, that it's all going to be a little different. So if you're sitting on lower than the bear is in elevation and you're shooting up, if you're a little low, that is better than being the opposite because that arrow is going to travel up into the animal, hopefully catching. If it goes too low for one lung, hopefully it's going to get the bottom side of the other lung.
Hmm. Yeah, and vice versa on elevated shooting position down.
Yeah,
I I
it better to
always
be a
find
little high.
absolutely. You
Yeah.
go above that center line, say for tree stand, if we're gonna lean towards that, always go above center line as opposed to on an ungulate where you typically try to grab that lower third because of the anticipating the dip. And a lot of guys, I see them just shoot the bear way too far forward,
Hmm.
their vitals have. And
That's a
that
great
middle,
point.
yeah, you always hear about the triangle or where you're going to catch the heart and lungs potentially on a deer. A bear, if you can sit and shoot them center of center, maybe a variance of 2 to 4 inches, a little bit forward, you're going to center punch those lungs. And I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have success with that kind of shot placement, doing it a little bit higher up, just because most of my bears have been from elevated positions. So,
Hmm. And I feel like for most people start off as most hunters start off as deer hunters. And
mhm.
you're always told where's the best place to put your shot, regardless if it's a rifle or a bow. Just tuck it in right behind the front shoulder. Go
Yep.
for that. If you're a little high, you're going to get lung. If you're a little low, I mean, if you're in the perfect spot, you're going to get heart. And then when you transition to go for bears, and I know this from personal experience, your natural hold is right behind the shoulders. And I've hit bears there and I have not recovered them, hitting them in that exact spot. Like if that was a deer, it would have been dead within 50 yards.
Mhm.
But because of the anatomy of a bear, it did not hit any of the vitals. Now I am 100% confident that that bear did die. Unfortunately, I never retrieved that bear.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of the game. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how prepared you are or stuff happens and animals are tough to kill at times.
They are very tough. And another thing with bears is because they have fur, they have fat. They're very fatty, especially the later on you get into the spring, and they just soak up blood in their fur, and their wounds seem to just close up a lot more than a deer or an elk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Blood trailing them can be extremely difficult at times.
Extremely difficult. Yes. So when I am choosing a cartridge, a rifle cartridge, I like that 30 caliber.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I've even like since it's really dense bush here, I see a lot of guys using like a 45-70, like using
yeah.
a really short bush gun.
Hmm. Yeah. Or like a 50 cal muzzle loader would be another great one. But like a 308, 30 6, 300 Win Mag, those are all great calibers. Bow hunting. I love mechanicals for bears. Love them.
Yeah.
The more cut diameter I find, the better. The more it can open the bear up to bleed out, the better.
Yeah. And to add to that, I would, in my experience, I like 3 or 4 blade mechanicals
Yes.
because that hole in comparison to a slit is, and like I've seen with two blades, I've seen great blood trails from them as well. But the best blood trails I've seen are from three blade broad
Yes.
that punch a hole.
Hmm. Yep. Now, and also depending on where you are, shot, accuracy is going to be a big thing. Knowing your limits, especially if you're archery hunting, um, wind. If you're in BC and you're doing spot and stalk on ridge lines, you got to be careful of updraft and stuff like that. But that being said, it all depends on your capability when shooting a bear. I know some guys personally that have no problem poking a bear at 600, 700 yards. I'm not one of those guys. If I'm shooting a rifle, I think 400's a reasonable benchmark for myself. That's my max. And it's about the same for a bow. No, I'm just kidding. It's 70 yards, 80 yards is um yeah, is probably my max for a
Okay.
bow.
On the topic of shot placement, is there any variance rifle to a bow in your experience?
Meaning where I'm gonna aim or where I'm aiming for?
Oh, yeah, where you're trying to get your projectile to hit
No.
differ? Okay.
No. Where I aim is if I'm looking at a bear and his fur looks really shaggy to me, I'm going to assume that he has 4 inches of hair hanging off the bottom of his belly. So I'm going to go 4 inches up, and from that mark up, I'm going to find the center line, like a horizontal line across the bear,
Hmm.
and then another vertical line, which would be from his rump to his nose, the center, and then I'm going to go a little forward of that. So like center of center, forward a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is I know some guys, like rifle-based guys, they will gear towards the shoulder in a means to,
Oh,
as opposed to archery, they want to just demobilize and hopefully the energy is enough to kill that bear.
I get what you're saying.
That's just the reason why I asked that.
That's a great question. No, I do not ever plan to bust shoulder. I always plan to puncture lung or heart. That is always my goal, is placement.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, how much is too much in a first aid kit? Now, this is a very interesting question. If you were to ask me, it's kind of funny. If you were to ask me a long time ago when I was in my 20s, I would say, what the hell's a first aid kit?
Yeah.
If you were to ask me in my 30s, just got some babies at home, have a lot more riding, a lot more depending on me being there, I'd have a lot more in my first aid kit than I have now. How much you have in your first aid kit, I feel, is a reflection of what type of hunt you're doing, how far you're going, and how long you're going.
Yep.
Um, so if I in my day pack, I always have a small sewing kit with a sewing needle. And I'm not talking pant sewing needle. I'm talking flesh sewing needle. Two reasons I like this. If you have a severe wound, you can sew yourself up if you can reach it. If you have tear in your pants, you can sew it up just the same, right? I have alcohol wipes. I have a compass. I have waterproof matches. I have a lighter and I have starting fluid. I have some sort of, in my day pack, what I carry is a mirror, a small reflective mirror. So if I have to, I can get somebody's attention with the mirror. Say a plane flying over, somebody looking for me. uh, you get stuck on a ridge, you break your ankle, you bust your leg, and there's a search party out, they're in vehicles, you can get their attention. They'll see that mirror reflecting in the skyline. Um, I have what else do I have in there? I'll have in my first aid kit a few things like an extra release, some serving material, and one or two water tablets,
Yep.
and that's it. And that is in my day pack. Um, what about you?
Well, the thing with day pack, it really depends for me where I'm hunting.
Good
Because
point.
for me, if I'm, say, whitetail hunting, there's times where I genuinely have no first aid stuff on me
That's a
because
good point.
I am about 500 yards from the truck at
Yeah.
any given time.
Yeah,
Just,
I want to correct myself because I agree. A lot of the times I'm not taking like there will be a backpack with some stuff in the truck. It's not my like hiking backpack. It's just got some water, some bars in it, and that's about it, right? And one thing I always carry with me, and we've talked about this lots, is my Garmin. I carry that thing if I'm going to check trail cameras. I carry it when we're going on vacation. I carry it on the plane with me on my personal, so I can have it. If the plane crashes, I can, and we're stuck, I can send an SOS through that, right? Then they're not looking for the plane. I always have that on me. So yes, you're right. I was mostly thinking if getting up in the dark, we're hiking in the backcountry for the day, hunting till dark, and then hiking back out in the dark.
gotcha. Well, in that case, if, yeah, I'm going to the bush and, doing a big loop, one thing that I always have is like moleskin tape for my feet, which I
Mm-hmm.
typically don't have feet issues, but I know nothing ruins a hunt like having a tore up blister or tore up toe or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always try to have some sort of antihistamine for me,
Mm-hmm.
or just because you never know, someone has an allergic reaction. You're in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It can get bad pretty quick. Um, some antiseptic wipes, like alcohol wipes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to keep a triangle bandage as well for splints with some paracord. A lot of this has been carry over from my backcountry snowmobiling days, so it's just the same kind of kit. One thing I actually have changed out is from the emergency blanket, I've went to a really small bivy sack that I'll carry with me,
Right. Smart.
just because like those those like reflective blankets are better than nothing, but you're still laying on the wet ground. A bivy sack actually kind of can build some warmth. If it's raining, you're wet ground. So that's one thing. And I also have glue is a big one, super
Yes.
glue. Um, I have used that in the field in the past. And a big thing that I've noticed is just make sure you might have to rip it open when you get back if you didn't get cleaned properly
Mm-hmm.
because it can get a little septic. But and just generic band-aids if you cut yourself on a broadhead, your knife.
Yeah.
Nothing, nothing too extreme.
So you're not bleeding. So if we get into a longer hunt, like a 10-day hunt, then I'm gonna up my my first aid kit. I'm gonna have things like some Vaseline, like a little thing of Vaseline, unscented lip balm you can use. You can put it on your feet if you need to, if you got some rubbing. You could use it if your lips are really chapped. I buy the chapsticks style, unscented, just regular Vaseline. You you can use it for multiple things.
Mhm.
SteriPen, Tourniquet. I do have a couple antihistamines in that uh, when I go on a longer trip.
Hmm.
Um, a gauze pad or two and white hockey tape.
Yeah, yeah, I guess medical tape is one I should have mentioned. It is also in there, but
I like the hockey tape. It's a little stronger. It sticks a little bit more. And the reason I like it white is because if you have an injury you're taping up, you can tell if you're bleeding through. Whereas if you use black, you cannot.
great point. Great point.
Hmm. So
Inter-
that's my first aid kit. So I used to carry a lot more when I was in my 30s. Um, you know, my first aid kit now, if you took a small my first aid kit basically now fits in, I'd say a 6x4 pouch that's an inch and a half, 2 inches wide.
mhm.
Like for a 10-day trip, that'll all fit in there. Um, I think the biggest thing is it sucks taking too much stuff. And yes, there's that saying, you're only packing your fears. But at the same time, you just like everything in my first aid pack, I it has multiple uses, like the Vaseline, the hockey tape. The hockey tape with some God pads, you can cut the gauze pads, you can make a band-aid, right? Most of the time you just take the hockey tape. If you got a cut, you just tape it up. You don't even need the gauze underneath. So I don't carry band-aids when I'm doing that. Um, Alcohol wipes, obviously, those are a big thing. You got to keep a cut clean, e- especially if you think it's small. I mean, obviously, if it's too small, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But a lot of times, like, oh, it's not that bad, but infection can set in. Tourniquet, you can make a tourniquet if you had to. If you have a femoral injury, I would rather reach into the back of or your partner does. I would rather reach into my pack right away and stop the bleeding than be running around further looking for a damn couple sticks so I can make one.
Very true.
That's why I carry a tourniquet with me. And a SteriPen is I've had Giardia. It sucks. I'm carrying a SteriPen.
Yeah. I've been hard on my grail for the past few years.
I have
That
one of those. Those are great too.
yeah, but that being said, those can fail or freeze. The SteriPen,
Mhm.
I actually like that addition because worst case scenario, you get stuck, weather turns, you can still purify your water to the extent you're not going to be.
Yeah, and in most cases, by the time the Giardia sinks in, you're going to be at the end of your trip, or you're going to be hopefully on your way out. But that being said, it's just better not to get it. I'd rather carry a SteriPen and just, you know, spend
Yeah.
30 seconds. Okay, Beast Broadheads, hot or flop? Now, I have used Beast Broadheads. You have used Beast Broadheads, I'm sure.
Yep.
Now, we just talked about this. Two blades, they do damage. I'm going to give them that. They are sharp as heck.
That they
Um, they are fairly expensive, but not overly much more expensive than like a Grim Reaper. I mean, you get two Beast Broadheads in a pack. I guess that's a little more expensive because I just bought four Grim Reapers for Wyatt, and they were $74 for four.
Yeah, I think the 3 pack now for beasts is at like 118,
That's
130
a lot of money.
for 3 usable broadheads, not the practice one.
Yeah. Again, You're relying on one slash, one cut. They are not they are not field tip accurate as they claim to be. They're just not. I mean, they are within reason,
Hmm.
but so are a lot of other mechanical broadheads.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough claim. You're gonna have drag. I mean, it's physics.
You absolutely will. And the dynamics of your arrow, the dynamics of the arrow speed, there's a lot of variables to play when you're talking about drag
Mm.
and resistance that's created from a broadhead. So there, in my experience, they don't hit. No broadhead ever hits where your field points. Now they hit with it, like I said, they hit within reason. At 40 yards, they're hitting within an inch. To me, hitting the same place is when I pull the arrow out, the other arrow is going back in that hole. Now that is all reflective too on the shooter. Some people can shoot, have the ability to shoot
Yeah.
that good. Some people don't, right? Don't get me wrong. That's going to an inch at 40 yards. If you're grouping 1 inch at 40 yards, you're killing an animal, right?
Yep.
That's going to kill an animal. So
Yeah.
money, they're expensive. They're no different than any other broadhead in terms of accuracy, in my opinion. Mechanical anyway. Um, they're hard to get. There might be a little bit easier now. There
Yeah.
was a rave there for them.
In Canada here, they are more difficult than other broadheads to acquire.
Hmm.
Sure.
Um, I mean, I love all those guys that work over there. I don't know Josh, but I know Dave and Greg's a friend of mine. Love those guys. I did shoot. So that big 400 plus pound bear that Pete shot, that arrow, that broadhead went through that bear so fast that it actually hit the ground and bounced up into the tree and fell down right beside the bear where the bear was standing
Yeah. Before the bear moved.
before the bear moved. That's how fast that arrow traveled through that bear. Now, I've never seen that with any other broadhead. And I'm going to add to this. I shot a mountain goat on the side of a mountain up in northern BC, and the arrow went through the goat and it sailed as far as I could see after hitting that goat. It looked to me like if you took a sheet of glass or say a frozen lake and you got on a perfect parallel plane with the lake and shot it and it just hit once and it bounced up and out like almost
Just
like skipping a rock.
skipped. Yeah. Crazy.
I like amazing. Like there was zero that arrow obviously it did slow down. It did not slow down a lot because that arrow looked as if I just shot it out of my bow. And there was a massive cut on that goat. But there's
Yeah.
only one cut, not three. Um, yeah.
So, and in addition to that, in my experience, a G5 dead meat is a broadhead that I really like. It's an inch and a half cutting diameter. That's a three blade. Unlike the beast, when you hit an animal with that, it gives you that slapping of plywood effect where it is taking a significant amount of energy when it gets deployed on entry and goes through. I have had great success with that broadhead. It's worked really well for me. My whitetail from 2 years ago, which I killed with a beast, I had the exact same experience as Pete did when he shot his bear, and same as you with your goat. That arrow
And
just
And you have also witnessed that with an antelope arrow
Yep.
just passing right through. So, yeah, that's an interesting. So, like pass throughs. Um, oh, and Derek shot that bear, hit bone, and still went through that animal, broke the
Mhm.
arrow off. So, I feel like, but yeah, you're right. Like, there is revenant in, not revenant. That's a bad word to use. That's not the word I was looking for. Anyway, there is value in the ability to just cut and bust bone. And I think a lot of that has to do with that bone evading technology that they have invented that no other broad company, to my knowledge, has.
Mhm. Yeah, I know there's a few that are trying, but I don't think they have it to the point like Beast
No.
has. And that's another thing. We talked with Dave Hauser from Beast, and I can actually see it with our experience, kind of alluding to what we just talked about. They almost take less energy than a fixed blade to penetrate because the blades fold back in difficult situations.
Yes. So when you start to add all these things in, we're talking hot or flop, price, you can reuse them for sure if you could find your arrow. And that being said, if it hits rock or it's in the dirt and it bends, it's garbage. Hard to get in Canada, but the technology is amazing. So if you do hit bone, you're shooting 70-pound plus bow, you're hitting bone. It's depending on where you hit in one animal, like a black bear, it's going through that bone for the most part.
Mhm.
Um, I do like the sound, that dead meat Grim Reapers make. You can tell instantly where you hit that animal. If you hit rib cage, it'll tell you
Yeah.
just by the sound. You get that plywood smacking sound. Love that. Um, man, this is a tough one. Hot or flop? I mean, if we did a list here, so we're doing a pro list. We got pros. We've got that bone evading technology. We've got sharpness. Um, I'm gonna say accuracy is neither because that's pretty much, they're not right. They're close, but they're not right on. And I feel like a lot of the broadheads are the same. Um,
One thing we didn't mention was the premature deployment,
yes.
which has been an issue for us and other people we've hunted with and talked with, which, pending how much merit you give that, when you're going to put it back in
My
the
wife
quip,
gives that a lot of merit.
hey, I'm right there with you, buddy. It happens
Not
to
a
the
g- not
best
good
of us.
merit either.
But yeah, the fact that if you catch it on a twig or
Or
something
just
like that,
putting it back in your quiver.
absolutely, especially in the dark.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Man, I am really torn here. We got to pick one. Um, I mean, if the cost, the premature deployment, then you got a bow, then a broadhead that has the ability to bust through bone and open up again. I think that it adds a lot of value
Yeah,
to the broadhead. How sharp they are. Anything they hit, they're gonna slice like you wouldn't believe.
they are sharp.
Instantly slice. So that goat, another story about that goat. The first shot I took on that goat, it went right through. The goat ran down a little bit. I got in and I got another shot on the goat. The
Hmm.
goat was against the rocks. The arrow went through the animal, hit the rocks, bounced back towards, bounced, ricocheted off the rocks, and happened to the arrow happened to pass by the goat, and it left a slice. Like you look like you took a knife and you smacked that goat. That was the broadhead on the arrow going through the goat, bouncing back off, and just touching the back. Like there was a slice down its back on the top,
That's crazy.
and and it was caused from a blade, not a fall. It didn't fall very far.
Hmm.
And then like you can see it, the arrow bouncing back. Very similar to what happened with Pete's bear. It just happened to come back right towards the goat, and the blade caught it.
Wild.
Um, so I think the cons, you got cost, premature deployment, accuracy. I think that's even across the board. I think the pros are bigger than the cons for me. I think that bonevating technology, how sharp the blade is, and I think those beat the cost and that premature deployment. Here's why I think the premature deployment happens with other broadheads as well.
That's true.
So I'm going to say hot.
I wanted, I was like leaning towards a flop, but another thing is that I really like about them is the fact that there's no bands
Or
or clip
collars.
or collars or anything like that required. So the fact that they can fold up again and retain themselves along with all the other pros and everything that I have shot with a beast or been a part of has been successful.
Has died. Very true.
So,
I just wish they were a little cheaper
mhm,
and they came in packs of four.
yeah,
But
a realistic pack.
two is not enough. And I know you see in their advertising, well, you could reuse them. Yes and no. If you can't find it, it ain't gonna do you any good. And let's be perfectly honest. You don't find every arrow that goes through every animal.
No.
If you have lighted nocks, you still don't. I mean, depending on where you hunt, I've had lighted nocks, shot an animal, and it's dark, and I've never found that arrow. It could
Yeah.
be buried 3 inches under the soft dirt or the grass or the weeds, depending on where you hunt, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to see them come in a 4 pack for that price, or at least a 3 pack for $100. I feel like $30 a broadhead is acceptable to me to pay.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's when you're paying $60 a broadhead.
Yeah. Um, I think they are good and I wouldn't discard them.
Are you grabbing
Yeah.
them off the shelf if you have your choice of any broadhead in the market on the shelf? Are you grabbing and pull them off the shelf? Personally, I am not grabbing that. I'm not. I like them. I would say hot over flop. I'm not I'm not picking that. If I had my choice on any other broadhead, mechanical, I'm not picking them.
The only reason I'm not picking them this season is blood. Every animal that I've shot or tracked that's been shot with them, and this could be like I've seen incredible blood trail videos from them, and I don't doubt that for a second. Just in my experience, the blood has not been great.
Hmm. And again, it goes back to that two blades. Four blades are better than two, always.
Yeah. Three.
All right.
All right.
I like
Put that to bed. They're good. They're not a flop. I
done.
won't be using them this year.
Are Kifaru packs worth the money?
Oh boy.
Bum. This is a great question. This is a hard one to answer for me because I have different scenarios, different opinions on whether it's worth the money or not. So I have used the Absaraka, Mag 44, the Hellbender, and the Striker. I've used two frames for them. The newest one, the Arc frame, the other one's not available anymore, so it doesn't matter. The Arc
Hmm.
frame. I do not like the Arc frame. I don't care about the extra little bit of weight. I do not like the steel or the metal plated Arc frame. It does not, it is too rigid. It does not fold and twist with the contours of your body as you're navigating the side hill or the mountain.
Hmm.
I do not like how high it sits up on above your head, and it restricts your ability to raise your head to glass when you're laying prone. Um, I don't like the pressure that the pads had on my back pressed against the metal frame themselves. They're better on the carbon. Now, the bags are awesome. They're heavy duty. They are a little heavier. I'm fine with that. They're not waterproof. They You can buy a rain cover. We'll get into the cost of this stuff later. You do have the ability to have rain cover. The pockets are awesome. The shackles, the ability to change out the shackles and the clips, they give you extra of all is awesome. I love, I absolutely love four zippers on the main pocket, like on a clamshell style backpack, to have four pockets is awesome. You can literally reach in from either side of your bag and grab anything you want. With the pockets, I feel like more pockets would be better. I like things to be organized in my backpack. I don't like everything floating around.
Yep.
Number one is I don't like everything on the bottom of my bag. I like the weight displaced evenly throughout the pack. So if you have pockets, like on the inside of the lid, typically you're not going to find a backpack anymore that has pockets built on the back. It's going to have a main pocket for your water bladder. They're going to be on the front. I like those. I like the weight when it's empty, your first aid kit, your rain gear, your lunch, you put them in different layers, you strap it down tight. That way the weight is displaced evenly on your back. It's not all lumped up at the bottom of your pack. And if you have it all on your lid's flopping around everywhere. Drives me nuts.
Hmm.
Um, Durable, very durable, extremely durable. The price is astronomical. 14 to $1,500 for a pack like the Absaraka, that 44 mag pack, or even that day pack, Hellbender. In Canada, the frame and the bag, shipping, duty, and taxes. Conversion rate for the Canadian dollar, you're looking, depending on which one you have and what province you live in, you're around that 13 to $1,500, 1,350 to $1,500 for a frame and a bag. Now that doesn't even include a water bottle holder, a rain cover, extra pouches, or like a KU lid on the Absaraka pack, which I feel like you should be buying if you're going to be running that backpack.
Yep. And man, that is a tough one. I have never actually hunted myself with a Kifaru pack. I have tried them on, I've handled them. The reason I haven't hunted with them is because of what you just said. There is a more affordable option that I found had more organization and more accessories, which I like, same as you, because I like having a little pouch to organize stuff. I feel like $100 or just under for a rain cover is absolutely it's too much for something that maybe it won't last quite as long. It might not be as durable, but the usability and just the function, I just I was always drawn another way.
Yeah, I agree. I've said this too in any of the review videos I've ever done about the Kifaru pack. They should be throwing in the rain cover. Just throw it in.
Absolutely.
Don't make somebody else pay for that after just buying the whole setup. So are they worth the money? Let's get back to the original question. If you were to tell me you wanted to buy one backpack for the rest of your life, you're only doing one style hunting, you're doing 3 to 5 day hunts, or you're doing expedition style hunts, and you said, I'm going to buy a Kifaru pack. I'm only buying one for the rest of my life. Would spending $1,500 on let's just say 1,400, we'll go in the middle. Would spending $1,400 on a backpack be worth it? I would say yes, it would. I would say undoubtedly, yes, it is worth it. If you're going to use that for the rest of your life, and I am fully confident, if you're doing one expedition style hunt a year and then using that pack for day trips, like a weekend warrior, just a blue collar normal dude, a
Hmm.
normal dude buying it. I would say if that's the scenario, if that's the situation, then yes, it's worth it because I would 100% confident it's going to last, and not to mention they will warranty their product 100%. As long as they're in business, they will warranty anything. If they don't make it anymore, they can't fix it, they'll give you a new one.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point.
Now,
Uh,
I'm not finished yet though. Realistically, hunters, us hunters, we see all this new stuff online. We see all the new ads on Instagram, on Facebook. Realistically, after running your backpack for a few years, say 3 years, you're going to be seeing some ads for the new latest and greatest. You're going to be like, man, I really want to try that pack. And you're most likely going to buy it.
yep.
So that being said, if you're going to buy another backpack in 3 to 4 years, or you're that kind of guy, it's not worth the money. I would buy something. I mean, all these backpacks now, the technology is so good. Everything is so well advanced. You could buy a really good backpack for $600-700. Really good backpack.
Yeah. Agreed.
Canadian, and I'm talking Canadian for the listeners that are in America saying, "Oh, you guys are freaking high. Prices don't cost that much." Well, just remember, $1,400, $1,500 Canadian is like, I don't know what the conversion rate is right now, but it's probably like $100 American.
It's
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 not that
pretty
low.
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
It's
We'll just put it.
yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to put it. That being said, I agree with the later part of that statement that you are after say 4 or 5 years, say the padding's getting a little, you're gonna find something that it's a little tethered.
Yeah.
The zipper's not great.
There's a
It's
new color,
yeah.
new pattern, new
A guy would
camo.
come up with an excuse to why this thing all of a sudden is obsolete, even though it's 100% not. So to me, I would gravitate to that and say that you can find a backpack that will be good quality for a little bit less money that you don't mind swapping out in 3, 4 years and not feel like you just lost your leg. They are incredibly nice packs, and I can't slag them in that way, but they're pretty
And they have
penny up here.
very good marketing. And I think that is a lot of it. Marketing sells, obviously. Um, I still have like my favorite pack of all time is the Mystery Ranch Splinter pack. I use that pack a lot. I packed out a lot of animals in that pack. I love that pack. I love the way it's laid out. It's the perfect size. You could use that on a day or two hunt. You have to strap some things to the outside. I'm fine with that. I don't mind strapping a sleeping bag and a tent to the outside of my pack
Hmm.
because when I get to camp, it's set up. It doesn't need to be in the bag. We don't need a 5,000 cubic inch backpack all the time.
No.
You know, it's a breakaway frame from the frame. It's not integrated. I love that. I don't ever think I'd go back to an integrated pack. I just don't. I think it's always going to be it's always going to have a meat shelf, a load shelf. I really like that ACEC pack, how it's got two shelves, basically. It's got a mid and a lower, depending on the size of the animal you're packing out. I love that. Love the pockets. I love the fact that that pack comes with, when you buy it, it comes with extra pouches. It comes with a rain cover, and the sizing is spot on.
Hmm. Well, and that comes with a gun bearer as well, right?
It does, which is really handy. Now, I did watch a video when he's trying to do it, Brandon's trying to do it for a bow, and I just don't ever see why you would like if you're strapping your bow to your back, you're most likely moving. You're moving from A to B. Like when my back bow is strapped to my backpack, I'm not thinking about killing an animal. I'm thinking about getting to where I need to go, and then from there, setting up camp, grabbing my bow. I always have my bow in my hand.
Yeah.
That's just me. Everyone's different, but for the most part, I think most bow hunters are the same. They're going to be carrying their bow as much as possible. Rifle's a little bit different. I feel you have to. If it's there, it's accessible. It's great, but they do have that quick gunsling. You just pull the on the right side strap. There's a little lever you pull. It's magnetic. Awesome.
Yeah. Just a nice added feature.
Yeah.
Well,
So there you have it. Kifaru packs, for the most part, I don't think they're worth the money unless you're looking for a pack for the rest of your life. Realistically, that's not most hunters. Some hunters out there are, you know, they're still running their original Hoyt.
aluminum frame, two backpack.
Dude, I have one of those. I still have one of those. I actually have a backpack. We've actually seen it. It's a wooden backpack, trapper's backpack. It's got a deer mounted to it now. Um, all right, buddy. For the listeners, you have any questions? You have any topics you want us to talk about? Hit me or Landon up. We're gonna get a third person in on these hot topics, these panel discussions. We're gonna be doing these once a week. We're not doing the lives anymore. We're doing this. Unfortunately, the lives did not fit our lives very well. So for now, we're tabling that and we're just going to be doing these at our convenience. It's just a little bit easier for our day-to-day life. So any questions you guys have, any topics. Now we're talking any topics that has to do with anything in the outdoor space or anyone. If you want us to talk about some specific person in the outdoor space, a specific piece of gear, or a broader aspect of gear, boots,
Yep.
elk hunting over moose hunting, anything you want to talk about, hit up Landon or myself on Instagram, uh, and we will talk about it on this. We're doing these once a week, so be prepared.
Keep them
Okay,
coming.
buddy. Keep them coming. That's right. Okay, man. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks.